What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're all doing well today. Today I'm going to be doing a full review of the Kubey KU322. The Kubey KU322 has a 3.39 inch D2 steel blade, 4.76 inch G10 handles for an overall length of 8.15 inches, and claimed weight is 4.48 ounces, and we're going to test that right now on the scale. Let's see what that comes in at. 4.9, so we'll say that's right. 4.48, 4.9, I mean, close enough, right? So I just want to go ahead and run through my comparison knives, and then we'll talk about impressions and comparable knives. So first up is going to be my Spyderco Yojimbo 2. The Yojimbo 2 has a 3.125 inch 20 CV blade. It has 4.5 inch G10 handles. Overall length is 7.5 inches, and it's weighing in at 4 ounces. So you can see here the Yojimbo is a little bit smaller, and the KU322 is definitely a full-sized knife. Next up is going to be my Spyderco Paramilitary 2. The Paramilitary 2 has a 3.44 inch S45 VN blade steel. It has 4.81 inch G10 handles, overall length 8.25 inches, and weighing in at 3.75 ounces. So you can see the KU322 compares in length more favorably to the PM2, but it's definitely more girthy overall. Let me go ahead and bring out my crossbar locks. First up is going to be this SIG KU322 made by Hogue. This one here has a 3.5 inch S30V blade, 4.5 inch polymer handles, 8 inches overall in length, and coming in at 4.16 ounces. And then I'll bring out the Benchmade bug out, which has a 3.25 inch S30V blade, 4.22 inch titanium scales, 7.46 inches overall, and coming in at a featherweight 2.8 ounces. So again, you can see the KU322 has more presence than both these knives, especially in the handles. They're more slender and slicey, and has more ergonomic contouring on the K3U20, and the bug out is just smaller overall. Last, I'll bring out my budget knife comparisons, and these are two different style budget knives. The first is going to be the Kubey KU321 with a 2.99 inch D2 steel blade, 4.29 inch G10 handles, and overall length 7.28 inches. The Kubey KU321 weighs in at 3.32 ounces, so lighter than the KU322. Next up is going to be my Civivi Cogent. This one here has a 3.47 inch 14C28N blade steel, 4.41 inch G10 handles, and overall length 7.88 inches. The Cogent weighs in at 3.7 ounces. So you can see the Kubey KU322 is definitely a full-sized knife. This is definitely bigger than anything that I've put out for the comparison. More girthy, more presence. It is thicker from top to bottom. It has a thin profile side to side, so in hand it fills out the hand, but it does feel pretty thin considering how big it is in hand. It is on bearing, so it is fall shut action. I love the thumb holes on the KU322. This is how a thumb hole should be done on a knife, in my opinion. I also like the flipper action, works really good. Nice detent. It is solid, locked in place. It is not going to fall out, so you do get really satisfying action depending on it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which way you're deploying it. If you're using the flipper tab, it is very satisfying. If you're reverse flicking it, if you're slow rolling it, it is very satisfying to deploy, and it definitely feels like a worker knife. Let me go ahead and do some comparable knives that are comparable to the KU322 and talk about my impressions of this particular knife. So I am going to bring the K320 from SIG back out, made by Hogue, and I'm also going to bring out the Shaman. I think these are knives that are in the same realm of this particular knife as far as the size and what it's intended for. One more knife that I'll bring out here as well is going to be the Benchmade Mini Adamus. This one here is a little bit smaller in presence, but again, does have that girthiness and that blade profile and presence to it that I think is going to be a good comparable knife. And I'll bring it down here so you can see a little bit closer to the KU322, which is definitely bigger overall. Now I think the knife that probably compares best overall is going to be my Shaman. I think this is really going to be a knife that you may consider what this would compare to based on the price point, how thick the blade stock is, how much girth you have on the overall knife, head to toe. The KU322 is definitely going to be thicker in handle, but when you talk about profile presence, did you see that? I tried to grab a liner lock on the Shaman. My goodness. Check that out. They are identical. So really, I just think that is, if you're looking at the KU322, you're looking at something that compares to a Shaman sized, full size, taking the full pocket, not carrying anything else with it type of knife. And it has a fantastic thumb hole. I cannot emphasize this enough. It is chamfered down. It has really good access on either side. Very satisfying to deploy, regardless of how you want to deploy it. I think the looks are pretty good. It's definitely a big bellied knife. I love the way that Kubey just engraves their logo without doing any type of discoloration or drawing any heavy attention to it. Looks really good. It is not hot in hand at all. It really feels good. It is chamfered down. The liners are very flush, very even. The pocket clip is reversible, but it is not inset. Has flat screws, comes in and out of the pockets really well. Has a nice spring tension to it, so it's not a fight to get it in and out. It is textured really well, but that texturing does not cause it to snag coming in and out of the pocket. The D2 threw me off a little bit at first. I was breaking down a box and I recorded it. And the box, it kept kind of snagging the cardboard when you would go with the grain, but when you would go against the grain, it would chew right through it really nicely, which is kind of what I've experienced with a lot of D2. It's not just the Kubey. Now, overall, for the money, for $50, you're getting a big knife. You're getting D2 steel. You're getting ceramic bearings in the pivot. You're getting G10 handles with a nicely done, well done liner lock. You're getting phenomenal thumb studs. These are probably the best thumb studs I've ever encountered outside of the Spyderco Spidey hole. Now, that one, of course, is my favorite because it's so big and you have the ability to kind of deploy it any kind of way that you want. But this is definitely my favorite outside of that so far. I have not experienced one that I have liked as much as this, and I have quite a few. That even includes the thumb hole on the thumb hole version of the Sheepdog, which is good, but if you look, it's not knocked down. And if you look here, you can see it's knocked down a little bit. So it is still really usable and really nice to engage with without having any sort of discomfort. That's what makes this so nice. Overall, for $50, this is a highly recommendable knife if you're on a budget and you need something that's gonna go to work. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, do me a favor, leave me a like. It helps me on the YouTube algorithm. If you're enjoying the content, I'd love to have you subscribe and follow along. I do want to do some giveaways for reaching milestones. I enjoy all of you out there that have already subscribed and followed along. You guys are awesome and rock. I appreciate the support. I feel the love. You are awesome. I hope all of you have a fantastic week. And until next time, peace.